It's a crisp February morning in 2025, and we find freshly overhauled Durango and Silverton number 482 steaming out of Durango with flanger OF and caboose 0540 attached to its drawbar. Today the railroad is running a photographer special, showcasing this remarkable piece of snow fighting equipment. These flangers were ingeniously designed by the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad in the 1880s. Their dual purpose is to facilitate the clearance of flangeways, the narrow gap between the rails where the flanges of the train's wheels ensure their stability on the track, and to further widen the snowpath for the equipment beyond the locomotive's plow. Today's train is conspicuously absent of the familiar golden yellow coaches today, as they're behind a diesel chase train following the 482, since the flanger must be located directly behind the locomotive to access needed main reservoir air pressure, and the controls that operate the flanger's motions are located on the cupola of the caboose, a car which, due to its unrebuilt condition, means it can only be located at the end of any train that it's in. At Event Park, the 482 has rolled to a halt here for an inspection. While the 482 is fresh from its 1472-day overhaul, like any piece of equipment on any railroad, there can be trouble as parts wear in. Today, the trailing truck, the rear axle of the locomotive that supports the firebox above, is running warm. Here, our engineer Nick will inspect the truck and relay his findings to the shop, and the decision is made to run to Hermosa at the base of the hill, where a run through the valley will determine if the bearing is going to be alright or if the 482 will have to be removed. Meanwhile, conductor Nick heads back from protecting the rear of his train, and the 482 departs through the valley. We briefly pause at the Hermosa tank, where shop crews have caught up and are conducting a second inspection. The decision is made to proceed to Rockwood, where the final determination will be made. In the interim, K-28 number 476 is heading up train 261, preparing to depart Durango well behind us. A former White Pass and Yukon diesel will be positioned behind the 476 to facilitate the removal of 476 at Rockwood should the 482 be unable to continue. With a spike in the bearing's temperature, the decision has been made to remove the 482 from the flanger and will be replaced with a 476 upon its arrival. And so the ballet of switching begins. 482 has tucked the flanger and caboose into the north leg of the Rockwood Y. Subsequently, our chase train backs to tuck itself into the south switch of the Rockwood siding on the opposite side of the main. Before the arrival of 261, the 482 cuts off and enters the main to back down and tuck it in on the south leg of the Y. Train 261 pulls into the yard limits of Rockwood with DL 535 number 101 in tow, and 476 is cut off and couples onto the flanger, and 261 soon departs ahead into the canyon of the Rio de los Animas. On the 476, Elizabeth, the fireman of the flanger train, is installing the class lamps and flags. As 476 is now no longer in charge of a regular scheduled train, these lights and flags will alert all trackside personnel and other trains that this is an unscheduled train. We proceed north of Cascade Y and roll across the bridge at Teft, clearing the path for train 262 to leave Cascade. At the crib wall, we perform our first run-by with the newly reconfigured Work Extra. We arrive at Needleton Tank, the farthest point along the line that we will traverse today. We are unfortunately met with the stark evidence of the severe drought that has taken its grip on the San Juan Mountains this year. It has been several years since a train has been able to venture this far during the winter months of the Silverton. We'll leave the flanger here as we back to Cascade to be able to turn and head to Durango. Upon returning to Durango, night has descended, and we discover 476 spotted in front of the depot. As part of the photographer's weekend, Pete Laro of Laro Photography once again provides the lighting. Thanks to his continuous lighting system, which was showcased for our night trains on the Silverton, we are able to both shoot video and stills handheld, liberating us from the constraints of our tripod. Here, we catch Russell, Scott, and Matt, all providing additional components to this scene.
You don't want to be doing 12,000
.476 time in the light is short-lived though, as it's time for it to slink away into the shop to take care of an issue that could cause problems on the next day if not worked on. But the night is not lost as 482 makes its way onto the platform to pinch hit for the 476, as Durango and Silverton employee Scott takes his place in the escaping steam of the K-36 for the benefit of the photographers gathered.
Hello viewers, thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe to Big Deal Photography. Your views are going to help us make run-bys great again.